Okay, let's get right into it. So these are the lures I never take out of my tackle box. So I'm going to go over each one, talk about its uses, and why I never take it out. So starting on the left side, jigs. Got a couple varieties. Most of these are swim jigs, swim baits of some variety. So the Storm 360 search bait, something I've used more recently. Something I would have looked over as a kid, like just a dumb fish imitation. They've gotten a lot more popular on circuits, not maybe this particular one, but this style. I like to use the smaller, I think this is a 3.5, and then the next size up are good too, for things like pike and larger fish. This is a great size for bass, about the size of your finger. And then these are two jig heads that I rarely see anyone use. But if I had to go out and catch as many bass as possible in a place I've never fished, you can bet this is probably the first lure I'm going to throw. Especially if it's not super clear water. That is a Roadrunner or horsehead jig. I usually use the small size, very tiny jig head. And what I love to do is put this on some kind of boot tail. This one's too big, about half the size of that. I've caught 19 20-inch bass on what's basically made as a crappie lure. It's a great lure. It's not super castable, so if you got bad conditions, I up the ante with a bigger size, or I go to the 360 because you can get much better distance on those. And then the last one, swim jig, classic style, weed guard, skirt. I like to take most of the skirt off and attach it to one of these bodies, actually. I just fished a tournament last week. Did all right, caught almost all my fish on this little combo right here. I didn't win, placed 32nd out of 92, but of the people I talked to, I caught more numbers, just couldn't find the big ones. So if you want to just catch fish, it's no stakes, great combo. Last 3 lures I keep, spinnerbait. This is a custom one, can't buy them anywhere. And this skirt I've put on it, the Z-Man skirt for a chatterbait or spinnerbait. Great skirt. I love the willow blade the most. It's great action, easy to cast, and they're not as bad on your wrist at the end of the day than some of the really big blades. I like the smaller one, sometimes a double blade. Last 2. The do nothing worm, as my grandpa would call it, but this is the bass stopper, cheap lure you see at Walmart, Meijer, wherever. People overlook this lure. I've caught more bass on this in the months of June and July than any lure I own. They cannot resist this, especially when the water gets hot. It's so slow, and you got to use pretty light line if you're fishing no cover. If you're fishing cover, you're going to have to up it because they'll take you right into the weeds. But it's a great lure. It's a great sight lure if you see them, because this makes so little splash you won't spook them. Some of these other lures, not so great for sight fishing, but this is one, my usually number one for sight fishing in lakes. And then sight fishing in the rivers, just rivers in general. This is a real up and coming lure. Everybody's using it. This should come as no surprise. That's Ned Rig, specifically Z-Man. I like them the most. They have the best jig head. I've had 50 fish days this past summer on this. It just really kills them. It's a great numbers lure. I've only caught one fish over 16 inches, but if you just want to go out and have fun, catch fish, it is unbeatable. Lighter the jig head, the better. I know most people are going to be gravitating towards like a 1/4 ounce, but a 1/10 ounce, all you need. 6-pound line, really light stuff. I like to use Nanofill 8-pound or just 6-pound mono has been good too. And then I prefer to put on one of these TRD Crazies. Can't be beat.